I got my guy here. I'm gonna let him introduce himself because it interested individual. He got a lot going on. So, my man, family, please introduce yourself. How would you introduce yourself?
Oh, what's going on, y'all? AD Odate. That's how I tend to introduce myself. Some people know me as Adrian. Some people know me as AD Scholar for my performance days. But generally, I'm a guy who's just trying to figure this whole thing out, man. Just trying to figure out life.
Yeah. And fatherhood at the same time, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But I mean, there's more to you than that because I know you
Oh, you want me to
coach.
go through the bio?
Yeah,
You want me through
just
the
yeah, a little something.
yeah, no worries. Bronx bred. I've been in the fitness industry and the coaching business now for close to 20 years.
Oh, okay.
I've been a performer since my teens. So from doing music to doing stand up comedy to producing events and shows and emceeing weddings. Never a dull moment in my life. I'm always looking for ways to continue to stay busy, active, creative. You know, um, I'm not a big believer in living a traditional life in terms of like I work for this company for 25 years to get my pension. This has never been my MO. So
Yeah, I dig
everything I
it.
do is always involved, continuously
Entrepreneur.
trying to challenge. Yeah, yeah, and challenging myself to try to figure out, what I'm passionate about, what I love, and being able to commit my time to it. So, a lot of people know me from the coaching space and the fitness space in terms of like being a trainer. But I've also traveled around the country doing public speaking engagements also for the last,
Dope.
15 years or so. So yeah, I'm not a slouch as
Not at
someone told
all.
me.
Not at all. If you was, I
I
wouldn't
do a
have you
couple of
on here.
things. Ah, fair enough. I appreciate you.
That's why, that's why I was like, oh my man, I got to get him
Yeah,
on.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
I see you. I mean, I haven't seen you in a long time, but social media, I see you with the kids. So I was like, I definitely wanted to get you on. So if you can, from the beginning, how was growing up for you? Grow with both parents? How was it growing up with your dad? Like, what was that situation like?
So interestingly enough, I'm a junior, right? So part of the reason why I I I now really go by AD more than I go by my documented name as Adrian is because I didn't have a relationship with my father.
Okay.
And so I'm his namesake, but I didn't feel attached to him.
Really? Sorry.
And yeah, I didn't feel attached to him at all. But I was fortunate, right? I had a mom, I had a grandma who was very present, and I had an uncle who basically served the role as my father. He
Nice.
did all the things. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I never felt like I was lacking a male figure in my life, but I just felt weird after a point being attached to his name in a way that just didn't feel like it was mine. You know what I mean? And as I got older, I started framing who I was,
Yeah. The quick
and
question: He was like, was it a point where he just wasn't around anymore, or was it like from birth, beginning?
yeah, I mean, so when I was born here, my mom and my dad were married, and then we moved to Montreal. And when we went to Montreal, we lived in Montreal for a couple. He just was very detached, man. He wasn't
Okay.
present. And so it basically felt like my mom was just raising me on her own, and he wasn't helping. So she made a call, and she was like, "Yo, I'm gonna send you down to your grandmother back in New York, and I'm gonna figure this whole thing out." They worked out, they figured out the divorce or whatever. And then that was the end of it, man. I have photos of me being held by him, but I don't
Okay.
remember him.
Wow. Okay. So
Yeah,
what age was
bro.
that when you first came? Well, came to your grandmother's.
Came when I came back to New York, I was 6 months old, and then I would go back
Oh.
and forth
Oh,
between
you baby,
New
baby.
York
Okay.
and yeah. So I would go back and forth between New York and Canada for like maybe probably the first 4 years of my life, 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh. All right. So fast forward, like, so Mom Dukes has
yeah.
been the rock, and you say you had a uncle, and that's one thing. I don't know your uncle's situation, but I always say that
Mm.
if you don't have any kids, the least you can do is be a dope uncle to somebody.
Yeah, yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah, yeah.
saying? That's the
Big
least
talk.
you can do. Um, so like fast forward, how many children do you have?
I have two boys,
You're
two sons.
probably the
Yeah.
first boy dad I had in a while.
Really,
Yeah,
really.
I've been talking to a lot of girl dads. There's nothing wrong with it, but
Nah, man.
this
You
is a
know, they.
different spectrum.
I'm glad they're just there. I'm just, you know
No
what I mean?
question,
Like,
exactly. That's why we do this, son.
yeah, basically, basically.
For real.
So
And you're
yeah.
married?
No, I am no longer married. We're divorced
No.
now.
Oh man, sorry to hear
Yeah,
that.
it happened during the pandemic. Yeah,
Okay.
after we were together for almost 20 years.
Damn.
Yeah,
I'm so
yeah.
sorry to hear that. You guys,
No, it's
great
okay. No, no,
couple.
no.
Uh,
Yeah,
yeah. You're
yeah,
good.
no,
She's good.
yeah, yeah, man. And I think it's actually an interesting thing where there's ways that this is done and can be done right. And when you do it right, there's no reason to feel any kind of way. You wish the person the best, and
Hmm.
continue to figure out how to co-parent and
Hmm.
be there for them kids. You know what I'm saying?
Of course, no question.
I think sometimes we get it. We kind of have this idea of the forever, right? And what we forget is that the lifespan of relationships and us as people were never really meant to be as long as they are now, right? Like when a lot of these constructs were put in place, when marriage was conceived, people were dying by 45. You know what I mean? So you get with somebody young and then you stay with them for a while and then you change. You grow and you go into different
Okay.
directions, but it doesn't change your capacity to still be parents and show up for them kids.
No question, no
You know what I
question.
mean?
So you guys co-parenting now,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and how is that working out? Or have you guys became like good, just tight best friends, or is it kind of like, hello, come to get them? That kind of like, what's the
I think
situation like?
it's still early in the process, right?
All
Like,
right.
so I mean, it's like we're in the first 2 years. You know what I mean? And so there's a
Okay.
period of like adjusting and figuring out new norms. So
Yeah.
we have a really good understanding and clear, cordial relationship. You know, I think as time goes on and you start to like find your own footing, you get to that place where y'all can be cool, cool. But right now,
Okay.
yeah, there ain't no problems. We
Just
do
all
the
right.
job.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah,
All right. And how old are the
yeah.
boys?
The boys are 10 and 5. My 5 years gonna be 6 in October. So
Okay.
it's a good gap. About 4.5 years between the two.
Yeah, my son just turned 6, June 1st. So
Yeah,
how
yeah, that's
I
right.
mean, let me ask you, I know my son, I don't know if it's a gift or a curse, but I know I do have a second win. Like sometimes I just need a second
Uh-huh.
win and I'm good. And unfortunately, my son has that. So
Hmm.
he'll go to camp, be in the sun all day, playing, whatever, come home. I'm thinking I'm gonna be tired. I get up for work, I get home, and he's all right, Daddy, can we play basketball? Daddy, can we ride
Hmm.
bikes? I'm like, damn, I thought we sent you to camp to get tired. Like your kids are that
Right,
constant
right.
energy, that constant energy drink.
Um, you know what's funny? My little guy has a lot of energy, but it's funny. Like we're like a creative bunch, so a lot of their energy. Little guy wants to run around do all the things, and he'll do that. And there'll be times where we can do that, but they're creative, so they tend to like zone in and channel that energy into creative things a lot of the times, whether they're playing their instruments or, you
Nice.
know, building things or drawing. So it's interesting because like there's times when I watch them and I feel like, yo, am I doing enough, right? Quote unquote, as a dad. And then there's other times where I'm like, man, they're good. Like I don't have to over curate their
I love it.
lives, man.
Yeah.
Like sometimes it's okay just to be like, y'all good? Y'all chilling? All
Yeah.
right, cool. Y'all need something? Nah, dad, we all right. And the cool thing is that they're so close that they kind of hold each other down a lot of the times. You know what I'm
Nice.
saying? So, so sometimes I'd be like, hey, y'all want to hang out with me? And they'd be like, nah, we good. We'll pull up a little later, some check on you. So it's been cool. It's been real cool because even when the
Nice.
energy is high, sometimes I got it. And I'm like, all right, let's do it. Other times I don't. And what's been cool is like I've been able to show them, I guess, in my the pacing and I would say their mother as well, that like there's a time and a place, right? And
Hmm.
so if there may be times when you want to have all this energy and run around, and I'm like, you got to give daddy 15 minutes, man, like because I got to get myself sorted,
Yeah.
and they're able to do that. They're able to like be like, the older one for sure. The little one is able to be like, all right, daddy, you need a couple minutes. All right, cool, no problem. So it's been good. I feel like I'm doing something right.
No, no question.
They got empathy at least.
Right. Yeah. Now I keep it a buck. Like I'm not. always confident that, like you said, like I know what I'm doing, or it is. I'm just kind of like
Right.
feeling it out. And the name of the podcast, actually one of my frat brothers and a fellow comic best friend, and we both were just in a situation. We had kids that we were 40. So at 40, you pretty much know yourself. You know who you are. You know your
Mm-hmm.
voice.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have a kid, and you have this whole new experience like in your
Yeah.
lap. It's like, oh shit. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
So like I'm okay, not okay. Like sometimes I just be like, damn, I'm not even sure what I'm supposed to be doing right now.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
wifey,
Yeah.
wifey definitely is great, kind of help me with that. But I don't want to say it out loud to her. You know what I mean? I always got to keep the
Right.
confident face, but and then she would still
That's
know
funny.
most of the time. She'll kind of like say it, you know what I mean, without me saying it. Like, oh, you
Right.
should probably do this. But
Right.
yeah, I think it's okay sometimes just because you don't know what you don't know. You know what I mean? And
Right.
it's just kind of like a process, just learning because you're kind of like, regardless of the age, you're growing with them.
Right. I think my biggest realization was that my kids are little people, right? And if you deal with them as little people, then you actually leave room for them to tell you what it is, right? You can't just be dictating what everything is. You got to look, see where they're at. They have their own personalities. They have their
Yeah.
own interests, their own desires. My 10-year-old been producing beats now since he was somewhere between 6, 7 years old, right?
Wow.
And I remember I had a moment where I had got him his first drum machine, right? And my inclination, because I'm thinking high performance, I'm like, yeah, so you know what I'm saying, we're gonna get this and then we're gonna go online, we're gonna learn how to use this thing, and we're gonna start cranking these joints out, right? And I had to watch myself because I gave him the MPK and he was about to start, he just wanted to push the buttons, man. He just wanted to push the buttons. And I was like, yeah, let's read the manual and let's look online and do the tutorials. And he was just, and I could feel the energy for him where he just wanted to play with his new toy. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all he
That's
wanted.
dope.
He wanted to play with his new toy. And I caught myself. And that was a big lesson for me because ever since then, that's how I function with him. I put something in front of him and then I step back. And I say, do with it what you will. And, every time I've done that, he's taken whatever it is that, myself or his mother has given to him. And he goes a whole nother route with it. And what
Mm,
I realized is if I was involved, he might not have had that creative process to make him go that way with that tool or discover that particular skill or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes we try to shape these kids too much
true.
to
True.
try to make them a little version of what we think they're supposed to be.
Oh,
And
like
I've just been
us.
learning, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Or the better version of us.
Yeah.
And yeah, and so now I'm just kind of in a place where I'm like, hey man, what do you need? What do you want? Sometimes I can do it, sometimes I can't. And I'll be like, yo, give me a second to figure it out. And when we can, I'm just like, all right, do what you want. Enjoy yourself. And if you
Yeah.
need me, I'm here. It's a different speed than what I thought it was gonna be.
What do you mean by as far as being a father, or the different ages for 10 and 5, 10 and 6?
I being a father, I thought that it was like it had to be a certain thing,
Yeah.
right?
True. Me too.
Yeah, and then what I realized quick was that there is no one way to father,
Nah.
right? There's no one way to father. You know, it's a it's an interesting thing because I think I had this conversation happen during the process of the divorce, right? And we split 50-50 the time with the kids, right? And part of the conversation was, she had an idea of what she thought fathering was supposed to look like. And I had mine, right? And this is a common thing that happens. This is why I'm bringing it up because I think it's a part of the conversation people don't talk about,
Yeah. Please do.
right? And so, and she was like, why don't you play like race cars with them on the floor and stuff? And I came up in a West Indian family where adults ain't play with kids. That wasn't even a thing. Children don't
Okay.
play with adults. Children play with children. Adults work. And so the idea of like playing toys was not even a thought in my mind. But I also came up in a way where it was like all the things I learned to do as a kid on my own is what developed me into being, oh, what up, little man? Is what developed me into being the person I am now, able to do the things I'm doing and making a living off of it, right? Because I had to be creative. I had to figure some things out on my own. So like I remember having a conversation and saying, nah, I'm not the dad that's gonna sit there and play Hot Wheels with it. That's just not the dad I am. I'm the dad who's going to sit there and play chess with them. I'm the dad who's going to have conversations with them around philosophy and psychology and thinking about how they're approaching situations, right? I'm going to give them some different skills. And so if they turn around and be like, yo, my dad never played Hot Wheels with me, I'm like, yeah, that's right. Because one thing I don't want to do is be the dad who's just saying, I did it because I was obligated to do it, and our kid never felt like I was really into it, right? I want them to feel that when I'm spending time with you, I'm spending time with you because these are the things that we mutually enjoy. Because I want them when they go into the world to know that, like, you're not going to always have people who want to do everything you want to do. That's not the real, you know. And I have young men that I'm raising, right? So at the end of the day, it's like there are going to be times you want to do something. The person that you asking for doesn't want to do that. That doesn't mean that you can't do the thing you want to do. Go ahead and do it. You might have to find enjoyment in that thing on your own in that moment. There may be something else. If you want to spend time with that person or whatever, you got to make the adjustment, or vice versa, right? It's like teaching them how it is to actually be with other humans, man. And I think we've gotten to a point sometimes now where we're so busy trying to cater to our kids that we don't actually prepare them to be adults. In real life, those kids are not going to always get what they want. It's just not what it is. So my thing is just to make sure that, like, I'm present. I'm always willing to engage and be part of the process with them, but also be honest with them and say, Daddy don't really want to play Hot Wheels. It's just, I don't. You want to do Lego? We can do some puzzles about it.
Yeah,
and
keep
now
it
do that.
book.
And it's okay for them to be like, okay, my dad just didn't want to do that. All right. So yeah. So you know what I mean? I just think it's important for us to be authentic with our kids, man. We got to be authentic with them.
Yeah. I feel the same way. Because when we was, when she was pregnant at the time, I'm just like, yeah, I'm definitely gonna be the one. Yeah, I don't care. I beat them. I don't care. Not to say I don't
Right.
care, but I
No,
just
but
figure
yeah.
because that's what we was kind of taught. You know what I'm saying? But
Right.
come to find out, he's really a good kid. I don't have to beat him. I had to speak to him and give him the look. You put a little more bass to your voice when you're serious because he doesn't need to be beat. But you kind of like that's what our parents kind of knew, and you don't blame them. That's just what they came up with. Then you grow up and realize, oh, I don't have to do that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I've also learned too. I actually learned from Dave Lesser. He because I remember seeing him talk to one of his sons, and then he was kind of like just yelling and fussing at the other, and I was just like, Dad, treat them the same. And then I learned from him, you don't treat them the same. It's two different human
Two
beings,
different people.
and one reacts differently to this. The other one, I gotta talk to him like this because he understands it better. This one I gotta bark at because it makes him go. This one I gotta say calmly and speak to him, and that makes him go. I'm just like, wow,
Yeah. People have different motivations, man. They have different motivations, and I think that the thing is, like, again, like when you really start talking about what fathering is and like being a dad and how to approach it in the best way. I think that when you honest about who you are with your kids, I have moments where like something will go down and like I get frustrated and I might get overwhelmed, and like I'll talk to them in a way that's like not ideal for how I want it, right? Like I ended up being short with them or whatever. And then I'll turn back and I'll come back to my sons quick and be like, hey, by the way, come here. Let me talk to y'all. My bad. My fault. Y'all didn't do anything for me to talk to you that way. I was having a moment of frustration. And as a result, I ended up talking to you in a certain way that's not fair to y'all. So I'm sorry for that. And I do that in real time all the time, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Perfect.
Show them. Yeah. And it's okay to say you're sorry. It's okay to be like, yo, I did something I'm not happy about, and try to be better. We got to mirror. We got to
No, I peep that too. I'll do the same. And because sometimes, like you say, you're just not in the mood, and you just kind of like react and say something. And I've definitely learned that regardless of how I'm feeling, is not personal towards him. So let me make my son. Let me not like come off at him because I'm in a bad mood. So you gotta kind of like separate yourself.
Yeah. But give yourself grace. You got to give yourself grace. And I say this to a lot of fathers out there, man, and the fathers who fell off, like on some real, like I didn't understand how a dad could like disappear.
Yeah.
And so honestly, going through the process of like going through the split and seeing the challenges that come with that, and how like if you're not prepared to like wrap your head around what's necessary to still be there for them, because you're going through a hard time too, adjusting
Yeah.
to your life, right? And you don't got the tools. It's never too late to be able to turn back and say, hey, I was having a hard time. I needed a second to figure it out, but give me an opportunity so that I could be in your life, right? And I think a lot of fathers don't know how to do that because they've never been given that. They never was shown how to do that. You know what I'm saying? But like, it's these kids are forgiving as heck, man. They hold a
Yeah.
lot of room for us, yo. And so if you just had a hard period and you felt like you haven't been able to be around for your boys or your girls or whatever your kids, whatever kind of kids you got, like you just got to be able to turn around and say, hey, man, I wasn't perfect, but I'm trying my best now. Give me a shot. You know what I mean? And at the
Uh-huh.
end of the day, if you're that child's father, like you need to be there. You got to
No
be there.
question.
You know what I'm saying? But
No
I know
question.
it's hard. It's hard. You
It
know what I'm
is.
saying? So, but yeah,
Yeah. It's a difficult situation to be in, but I mean, I just think they're better off when they have both of us, mother and
yeah,
father, regardless
yeah.
together or not. Not to saying that if you got a single mom, you're,
No, no,
you
no, no,
won't
no.
have, yeah.
Right.
But I just think, I mean, just better to have the best of both worlds there.
Yeah,
But
and that balance is key. That balance is super
yes,
key. You know what I mean? There's things that mothers only can offer, and there's
but so
things that
much,
fathers only can offer, man.
but
Like that's
so
just what it
much.
is. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, I definitely agree with you on that. And I think like I don't know if I said it before, but I had a conversation with an older guy at work. I, you know, I work for transit, so he's
Hmm.
running for the bus, and I stop for him, and he gets on, and he's just like breathing real hard, and he's like, "Dag, I ain't in great shape like I used to be," and I'm like, "Yeah, well, you gotta worry about your health because your kids need you," and he's like, "Oh, my kids is grown." I'm like, "And?" Your kids
They
still need you
they
regardless of
still gonna need
age.
you.
He was like,
Yeah, man.
wow. He's like, yo, you right. You right. I'm like, yeah. And I
Yeah,
know I'm right, so you still gotta
yeah.
take care of
Big
your
talk.
health. My age, I still need my father, you know what I'm saying? Like you need that adult in your life. Or even
Right.
just like I was saying, even if just a dope uncle or just a great mentor, I think we
Yeah.
all
Right.
people I don't think people realize or admit it, but I think we all do need either maybe even not your pops, just like kind of like a mentor, male mentor.
Somebody there, somebody that gives you that perspective. Because I mean, the reality of it is different when you have someone who can look at the world through a comparable set of eyes. You know what I'm saying? Like
Hmm.
there's different experiences, and depending on how people identify gender, what have you, like all that is fair. But if you are in fact, um, for instance, a young black male, right, and you are dealing with the things that in society come along with being a young black man, like to have somebody there who can speak to that and help you understand how to navigate that is helpful. You know what I
Yes,
mean? It's just
definitely.
helpful. It strengthens you. It gives
I
you
know.
more reinforcement. You know what I mean? And so, and I was fortunate, man. Like I was able to have my uncle was there, but then I also had older cousins. I had mentors in school. You know what I'm saying? Who showed up and were able to give me insights because everybody gives you different things. You know what I mean? Like
True.
my uncle put me on a certain type of game. My mentor in high school gave me certain game, and so like you start to composite all that stuff, and that starts to help you shape who you become as a man. You know what I'm
True.
saying?
True.
And so at 42 now, and having two young men in the camp, you know what I'm saying, and doing the training and learning how to become young men themselves and to eventually become grown men who hopefully will have their own families and what have you. My thing is just to make sure that I stay around as long as I can be, and then
Yes, sir.
also bring other men around them too that aren't just me, right? So that
Okay.
they have another voice from other fathers, other men, other uncles, whatever, that provide them with some insight. Because sometimes they're gonna hear it from me and be like, "All right, whatever, Dad." That's
Yeah.
gonna happen. You know,
True.
but if they hear it from they hear it from their uncle, all of a sudden they're like, because that uncle gonna come in from a different approach. He's gonna be like, "Yeah, I know your dad was bugging, but you know,
even
he's
even
telling you
still,
something though."
just a different voice, and they could say the same thing you just said, and they be like,
Exactly.
"Oh, okay, that makes
You're right.
sense."
You're right. You're right. I get that
Exactly.
now. It's like the same thing I
Not even,
said, man.
you be like, yo, Dad, why you ain't say that? And that's word for word what you said.
Well,
But yeah, man, that's just how
inside,
it
yeah,
is. And same way, like was one thing I just pray that before I go, I give him all the tools he needs,
right,
and how he uses them will be up to him. But
right,
I just want to make sure, hopefully, I'll give him everything I can.
right. And yeah, I think that's the other part, right? Like, I think you made a great point. Like, they always need us. They always need us. And like I said that to a friend the other day. I was like, yo, they with me for life.
Yes,
Like
sir.
they with me for life. And you know what I'm saying? So like, however old I get, those are still my boys. And like I remember I said it, I was like, I don't subscribe to like being your kid's best friend. I'm not about that wave. I'm not on that type of time. I'm like, I'm not your best friend, I'm your father. And there's a difference, right? That doesn't mean we can't have a friendly dynamic in our
Have a good
relationship. I
time
think there
together.
will,
Uh-huh.
yeah, that's great. But friends can get up and leave. Friends can choose to no
Oh,
longer, right? They can choose to not want to mess with you no more.
true.
I don't believe as a parent you ever stop being connected to your kid. And so when your friend might want to dip on you and you might piss me off, I'm gonna still be here because
True.
I contributed to you being in this world. If you
Yes,
did
sir.
something, God forbid, that was egregious, I got to own part of that too because I was part of that process. So that means I got to support you no matter what.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And that's a different relationship. It's not the same as being your best friend. You let your best friend be your best friend. I love that for you. You know what I mean? I love that for you. I'm your father, and I'm gonna be your father forever, and there's gonna only be one. And I want that relationship to be clear when we do it, because there's a time when you're gonna not gonna like me, and that's fine. Because I gotta put you in a position where you're shaped to do the things you need to do. But there's gonna be a time when we're going to the bar and we're having a drink together, and you'll be like, "Man, Pops, I can't believe this, that, and the third, and we're gonna be talking candid." And I'm gonna be like, "Yeah, that only comes if we went through this process, though."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the only way it makes sense to me, anyway.
No, no, no. I like the way you put it. Yeah. No, I definitely dig it. Cause yeah, I mean, the only thing as far as being friends, my take on it is just like I they don't necessarily have to be friends, but I want you to be able to speak to me, like just
Right?
tell me
Yeah,
what's on
yeah.
your mind. Which, I mean, he's only 6, but he'll talk to his mother before he talks to me, and he'll be more detailed. But I don't knock it because women are more nurturing, so it's easier for him to come out to her. Maybe at a certain age, then he'll come to me more
That's
about
bound
certain
to
things.
happen. That's
But
bound to happen.
yeah,
That's
but
bound to happen, bro.
regardless, I'm not upset with it. I'm just glad that he talks to one of us. So
Yes.
of course she's gonna fill me in, you know what I'm saying?
Right,
But
right, right, right,
as
right.
long as he speaks to one of us, and
Yeah.
then with women, which I totally agree, well, women, especially her, ask the right questions. You know what I'm saying? So she
Right,
know
right,
how the
right,
right questions just to get him to open up. Where I'm like,
right,
how was your day? So how was camp? What you
right,
do? She knows, certain questions that open right up and, and the
right.
floodgates open and he's telling her the
Yeah,
whole day.
yeah. It's funny. I've watched that happen too, and I realize it's just because we're viewing things different. You know what I mean? We look
True.
at it like, as men, we're more tactical. We're like straightforward, straight shooters, and a lot of
Mm-hmm.
times, like, we're like, all right, what's the thing? How we get it done? Let's get it over with, right? It's
Yep.
very like transactional sometimes, and you know, being curious about their experience from their vantage point is different. And so, there's times where I feel bad sometimes, where I feel like, maybe, am I not giving them enough talk time in terms of like, them being able to tell me stuff? But I've done it with my oldest son, where I've sat there with him, man. I've been like, hey, so how was it? Like, how's the day been? What are you feeling? Does anything pop up? And his whole head is just like, yeah, Dad, this and that, and then, you know what I mean? It hit me with the straight up answers, right? And I used to feel a way about it. And then I realized that, like, he'll come to me for other things and want to go in depth about it and want to like have those conversations. But he'll do that when on his time. And I kind of have to let go of my ego a little bit and being like, not being my feelings of being like, why you don't talk to me the way you talk to your mama or whatever. And just understand
Exactly.
that, like, he's just going through his process, whatever that looks like for him. And when he needs me, he gonna find me. As long as
Yeah.
I'm here. And that's
Mm-hmm.
my biggest thing. The lesson I've had in these last 10 years is just be there. You know what I mean? If for nothing else, just be there. Because if you're there, then at least there's an opportunity for them to talk to you. You know what I'm saying? There's an opportunity for you to observe something about them and find a spot for where you can connect with your kid. But if you're not there, then you're not even in the game. You know what I'm saying? So I'll take that more times than not, you know, just being in the room and like, I don't got to say much, just be there.
Yeah,
You know?
Your presence, facts.
Yeah.
And you correct me if I'm wrong. You went to Brown.
Yeah, I went to Brown.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you know, Brown's a really good school, and I know you're a very intelligent dude. How are they in school?
They're bright, man. They are sharp kids.
Nice.
They are sharp, high reading levels, great cognitive skills. They're thinkers. You know what I mean? Which is, to me, that was my biggest thing. I want them to have high level of reasoning. You know what I mean? I want them to be able to assess situations. No, don't just do something because I told you not to do it. I want you to understand why it wasn't going to be in your favor to make that certain decision and why that doesn't work out for you. So, you know, you get in trouble for doing something and I'll be like, you know why? And they'd be like, I don't know, Daddy. I'll be like, nah, try it again. and they'd be like, no, I don't know, Daddy. I was like, nah, you know why? Why'd you do that? And they'd be like, well, because I thought you wasn't going to find out. I was like, right. That's why you did that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, because I need them to be able to process that way. You know what I'm saying? But they're smart kids, man, and smart and creative. So I'm like best of both worlds.
Yes.
And they're both athletic when they want to be. You know what I mean? So I'm like, man, y'all good. But I'll tell you the biggest thing I picked up is that they're both very emotionally intelligent at really early stages in their lives. They are really aware of people's emotions, how others feel, and being aware of how to show compassion and care for other people. And to me, that was one of the biggest things I wanted them to learn. Is like, be kind, be good humans.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I don't care how much money you make, how brilliant you are. Be good humans, man. Contribute to society by being good people. And so they're showing that.
Yeah. That's what. And when people ask me, you know, how you doing, whatever, I'm like, oh, you're a good father. I'm like, look, I'm just trying to raise a decent human being.
Yeah, bro. Big time.
Yeah. I'm not like trying to get father of the year, anything like that. Which sounds great though, but
right. Put
you
a
know,
plaque
I don't
up there.
need that. I don't need all that, but sounds great. I'll take it.
Yeah.
And you said, and it's crazy because you, what instruments do they play? Because I know you was a performer.
Right. So they both do piano. They both started learning piano. And like my oldest is on all the digital things. So he'll do GarageBand, anything that has, like, he'll be on my phone, mother's phone, anything where he could put some software on to make beats. He's on there doing it. You know what I mean? So, but like they both learn how to play the piano and they both draw.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good
and
stuff.
write. The oldest one likes to write too. So he likes to illustrate and then he'll write his own stories and stuff. So it's dope. You know, it's good to watch him.
So are you still rapping? Do you spit in the freestyle in the shower to yourself?
I'm always gonna be doing something creative, man. I still do music. I get on whenever I can, make people laugh. You know, when I do the emceeing for the weddings, it's a big part of that for me is that I'm performing. You know what I mean? And so I'm clowning, I'm telling jokes, and I'm making that room feel away, and we're performing the songs, and you know, full on, everybody put your hands in it, like all of it, man. It's just a big.
Yeah, I see the video. I seen the video someplace. Yeah, they're rocking.
Yeah, man. You know, been doing it for a while, so I get that outlet. I need to have that outlet. It keeps my head right.
Yeah. No, I figure. Yeah. You gotta get that creativity out of your head. Yeah, definitely, no question.
Yeah.
I'm gonna wrap it up in a minute, but I just wanted to say, I'm not gonna say to give up the name of it because I don't want to blow up the spot and somebody take it and run with it. Right. But you invited me down to a karaoke joint you was putting together. And, and I was just like, let me go support my dude. It's right here in Harlem. Let me go support my dude. So I go and I'm at the bar and I'm drinking, and he was like, next up, and you call my name. I'm like, I know he ain't talking to me. I just can't support. How you gonna put your boy in the spot? But yo, I had
because I knew you were a performer.
Yeah, but I really was. I came to be in the cut. Like, All right,
Yeah.
you know, it was a good look in there,
Right.
and yo, I had a great time. It was a blast, and I recorded. Somebody recorded, maybe you recorded, but I had put it.
Uh-huh.
No, I recorded,
Uh-huh.
and I put it on my page, and everybody was like, "Yo, where was that? When's the next one?" Yeah, yeah. So, and then I
Yeah.
think that
Yeah.
was like 2019. I think like the pandemic
Yeah. Yeah.
happened, so
Yeah.
yeah,
It was the
yeah. I
lip
had a
sync
great time.
karaoke joint. Yeah, we
Yeah,
did the
yeah.
lip sync karaoke. That was a
I
good
didn't want to.
time.
I ain't blow it. I because he had a dope name. I didn't want to blow up the name. Somebody run with it,
I
but
know.
yeah, I had a good
It's
time.
all good. If the idea works and people get to enjoy it, I don't ever get too worried about that stuff. I'm a
Okay,
creative person. I'll find something else.
something else, yeah. But
You
that
know,
that that was dope.
we
But
actually have an open mic now that we started doing in the Bronx to get back into that vibe and that space. So,
okay,
we do a Taco Tuesday open mic in the Bronx every Tuesday. So, what I mean, people could go check on the social media and they'll get all the information there. It's in the South Bronx, so it'll be a good time there too.
all right. Drop your social media handles. I'm gonna put it in the description also. But drop your social media handles.
Yeah, so I am Coach AD. If you're looking for my coaching site, just to kind of get some motivation and some inspiration, or you want to hire me, and then
No question.
AD Scholar SKOLA is my personal page, where you can just kind of see what I do and kind of just me existing. And that's where you see a lot of my stuff with my boys is on there.
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
I appreciate you, fam, being on here,
thank you,
and
man. I
pretty
appreciate you,
much
bro.
it was better than I thought. Honestly, I mean, I knew I was gonna get great
Awesome.
stuff, a good conversation from
So
you, and I know you was gonna drop a few gems, but yeah, 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 it was better than
so
I thought it was. Honestly, I thought it was
thank
gonna be.
you.
Now we're gonna
I'm
show up.
he's ready. He's ready
Yeah,
over
yeah.
there.
But you know what? He messed up. He took a nap like 5:30, 6 o'clock. So
Yeah, you did it to yourself. You did it
yeah,
to yourself.
he wasn't feeling well. So I came
Fair
home.
enough.
I'm like, oh
I was
man.
feeling
There you go. Now you
He's feeling better
continue.
now.
Yeah, exactly. It's always at the wrong time, right? But no, I appreciate you,
Oh
kid.
man.
We definitely gonna stay in
Thank-
touch more. We
Yeah,
definitely
for
gonna.
sure. We've been this whole time. So I mean, we'll catch up sooner than later, I'm sure.
Yes, sir.
All
Again,
right, brother.
appreciate you. You have a good night. Take care of them boys.
Thank you, man. Thanks for having me on, man. And good
No
night to
doubt.
y'all. And he's getting big. He looks good.
Yeah, yeah. He too big, too fast for me though. But it is what it is. You know how it
It
go.
is. Yeah, I do. I
You
do.
know. All
All
right,
right, brother.
fam.
Talk to you
We'll
soon.
talk later.